Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's EBC video. We're at McAllister College here in St. Paul, and we're here because of the MIAC championships that are happening this week. And I want to talk to you about John 10 verses 22 to 30. But before I get there, I actually want to start with 1 Timothy. It's chapter 1 verse 15. And in 1 Timothy, we hear the author say that Jesus came to save sinners, and I am first among them. And you can hear all the roar behind me of races going on right now. And I got this wonderful mental image of the writer of Timothy saying, I'm first among sinners. And the idea of sort of like running toward that finish line, being the first sinner, it's absurd, right? We know that no one is the worst sinner, no one is the best sinner. We're all sinners. But I want to hold on to that idea that Jesus came to save sinners as we think about what we hear in John 10, because this is the Good Shepherd story, and it's just a small piece of it. And in this part of it, Jesus is at the temple, and he's at what's called the Portico of Solomon. It's an area where people would have gathered for teaching, and we know it's a festival, and so a lot of the devout Jews are there at the temple, really taking in that festival and then hearing Jesus teach. But then some of the Jews challenge Jesus and say, look, how long are you going to keep us in suspense? If you are the Messiah, just tell us plainly. And Jesus says to them, look, I have told you. And not only have I told you, but there have been lots of signs that I've done. And you don't believe because you don't belong to my sheep. That's a sort of a startling statement, right? You don't believe because you don't belong to my sheep. Jesus says, my sheep hear my voice, and I know my sheep, and my sheep follow me. And this is a warm and comforting story if you're a sheep. If you're one of the people who's confident that you know Jesus and Jesus knows you, you're loving this story, Jesus as the Good Shepherd. If you're one of the people who Jesus was talking to and said, you don't belong, and you don't believe because you don't belong, boy, this is really a disconcerting message. What is it we're supposed to do to belong to Jesus? And in fact, we know, now I'm going back to that Timothy verse for just a moment, we know it's not about keeping ourselves from sinning, right? Jesus came to save sinners. What's left is just the simple statement that Jesus starts with, that my sheep hear my voice. And the only task we have is to hear Jesus. It doesn't say you have to believe instantly. It doesn't say you have to live a certain kind of life. Jesus simply says, I know my sheep already, and when they hear my voice, they follow me. And so this week, we can be confident that, by the way, even the individuals who are challenging Jesus about, just tell us plainly, if they take a moment and they breathe and they hear Jesus' voice, that's all there is to being one of the sheep who follows Jesus. So this week, hear Jesus out there, take a moment to relax and take that in and follow Jesus. Have a great week.